Today I'm going to be ranking every single UFC champion by their trash talk from least to best, and we're going to just kick it off right now with Alexandre Pantoja. So starting with the worst trash talker, I think it's Alexandre Pantoja, okay? And the reason I have him as the worst trash talker is mainly because he doesn't really even trash talk to begin with. He's really humble, and he doesn't have many rivalries with people that he's fighting, and he doesn't really get in many beefs. And also, he doesn't even speak, like, English is his second language, so he doesn't really have the ability to, like, say crazy stuff unless it's like translated, but people with broken English, it's just the trash talk doesn't hit the same. And yeah, Alexandre Pantoja has no enemies. You know, he has nobody to trash talk to. He's just a humble guy, humble beginnings. And that's why I have him at the worst. So on to Merab, I have him at the second worst trash talk. And if you want to count like being a troll as trash talk, then maybe he's a little bit better. But in terms of like actually saying things, like saying good lines, Merab has none of that. He throws temper tantrums all the time. That's all he does at press conferences. We saw the press conference with Umar. He just like crashed out and fucking acted like insane and got all pissed. And when he does talk, he's really hard to follow because he also has kind of broken English. You don't really know what he's saying. He's just saying how offended he is about his opponent. That's really all that you get from Merab. You don't get any like funny remarks or insults. You don't get any of that. You just get basic, very basic name calling. And yeah, if it wasn't for his anger issues and like basically going incoherent every time he got pissed off at the person he was fighting, then maybe he'd be able to say something more witty. But everything I've seen from him, it's just not that. He has no lines that are funny or anything like that. Next up is Jon Jones. All right, so Jon Jones doesn't really have that much trash talk. He's had some rivalries. He's had some against Daniel Cormier or whatever, but he never really said any lines that were like, made him seem like a trash talker. All his line is, the only line Jon Jones uses is, "I'm the best." Something along those lines. "I'm better than you. I haven't lost." Basically just stating facts, which is a good route for Jon Jones to take because he is undefeated and everybody thinks he's the greatest of all time for the most part. But that's all he says. All he says is he's the best and he'll beat you. There's no funny insults or anything like that. So that's why I have him this low. And next up we have Alex Pereira. Okay, so Alex Pereira doesn't even speak English, okay? He speaks Portuguese. We all know that. But when his trash talk gets translated, they're actually pretty fucking good. Like when he told Adesanya, "You're gonna be alone in that octagon." That was kind of hard. Okay, that wasn't really trash talk, but that was like, you know, a warning. That was like a cold warning by Alex Pereira. Also, when Jamal Hill clapped back at Alex Pereira after UFC 300, he was like, he's probably still sleeping after I knocked him out. That was a good one. And that's why I have him a little bit above Jon Jones, because he says other things just than like, "I'm gonna beat you," basically, or "I'm better than you." That puts him above the rest of the guys. Another advantage he has is he also has that tough guy aura. So everything he says really kind of just has like a more of an impact on it. Like when he's like telling Adesanya, "We're gonna be alone in that octagon," it just sounds scarier just because Alex Pereira is saying it. But on to the next person, we got Islam Makhachev. Okay, Islam Makhachev is actually a decent trash talker. He's kind of like halfway on this list with Alex Pereira. And the main thing he has is like his smug attitude and his smug remarks, calling, you know, when he was in the first fight with Volkanovski, he was, you know, he doesn't really come up with many lines that are like, you know, he doesn't have many one-liners, but he does little jabs at them. He's super confident too. So everything like he says seems like he's, you know, insulting, like looking over the opponent. He kind of has that like, I wouldn't say McGregor level confidence, but he kind of blows people off. He goes at Charles Oliveira for not being able to speak English. He goes at Volkanovski for not being for being short. And he's just a very unserious guy. Like his personality makes him kind of funny, even when he's not trying to be. You've all seen the Islam Makhachev memes, the brother memes. Brother. Calling DC a fat guy. It makes everything he says seem more funny because everybody kind of thinks of him as like a jokester of the UFC when it comes to going at other people. The next person might surprise you, and it's Belal Muhammad, okay? Everybody hates Belal Muhammad. I feel like the Belal Muhammad hate is somewhat forced by most people. They kind of hate him as a joke, or they hate him because everyone else is hating him. And one of the things I'm going to give him is he's actually very underrated, especially before the Leon Edwards press conference or Leon Edwards fight in general. He beat Leon Edwards at that press conference, and that's something that I'm giving towards him in this ranking. He completely like beat Leon Edwards in terms of like the before fight antics. Leon Edwards tried to flinch in his face. Belal didn't flinch at all. And Belal was just so confident. Everybody thought he was crazy for what he was saying that he was going to outbox Leon, outstrike him, take him down, make it look easy. But that's exactly what he did. So I give him a lot of credit for that, being able to say all that shit but still back it up. It makes his trash talk even more powerful. And then as of recent, he just cooked Usman. He cooked him bad. He basically came at Usman for, you know, his questionable title reign, saying like, all you did was really like beat George Masvidal twice and beat Colby twice. Two dudes that don't really even have wins against ranked opponents right now. And Belal Muhammad saying he basically has a better record, which is questionable because he hasn't even defended his belt. But the way he was coming at Usman was super funny. And I think he actually cooked Usman, to be honest. So I think he's a lot better of a trash talker than people realize. But on to the next person, we have Ilia Topuria. He's in second place. I think you guys probably already know who's in first place, but Ilia Topuria is honestly the second best trash talker in the UFC. And I think it's because of his performance against Max Holloway is why I'm putting him up here. We all knew he was a super overconfident guy before the Max Holloway fight, but after that face-to-face against Max Holloway, where let's be honest, he cooked Max Holloway. All Max Holloway was saying was, we're going to see October 26th. He just destroyed Max Holloway, and then he backs it up with his fighting. But this dude speaks in multiple languages, and he just says so many funny things and so many good lines against his opponents. And he's always laughing about it. He's always making it funny. I think it makes your trash talk more likable when it's actually funny trash talk and not just like, I'm going to kill you. Because like, you can trash talk somebody and be like, oh, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to beat your ass. But that's like, nobody really appreciates that kind of trash talk. People like the funny Conor McGregor style trash talk where they're making fun of the person. And that's what Ilia Topuria does. Because this guy's never lost a verbal exchange. He cooked Max Holloway, but he also cooked Alexander Volkanovski. You know, they're both not really trash talkers, so I guess you can't, you know, put that stuff very high up. But no one else in the UFC is trash talking like him, so I have to put him this high. You know, the guy's never lost a verbal exchange. And last up, the best trash talker in the UFC is Dricus Du Plessis. Okay, we all kind of know that he's the best trash talker, and this guy's like the new CEO of like just toxicness. The way he goes at people that makes him such a good trash talker is he has no boundaries. This guy will say anything and everything, and he doesn't get heated. He doesn't let anybody bother him. He's just so casual about it, and he just goes for the neck on these guys. He's the first person that I've ever seen in the UFC to make his opponent cry on stage. Adesanya, I know that's pretty easy target to make cry on stage, but like no one's ever done that, and this guy's hilarious. You know, it started off with the Sean Strickland trash talk. Well, it actually started off, to be honest, the first time I heard about Dricus Du Plessis, he was calling out Darren Till, I'm pretty sure. Or no, he's calling out Bo Nickel. He was calling out Bo Nickel during his Darren Till fight, I'm pretty sure. And that's when I first heard about him. But then he got in the whole thing with Adesanya, saying that he's not a real African, that Dricus is the real going to be the first African champion or whatever. And then the Sean Strickland fight happened after he beat Robert Whittaker. And that's when the real press conference trash talk started. And we saw how that went. I mean, he went for the neck on Sean Strickland, saying, I'm going to beat you just like your dad beat you, like crazy fucking shit. And then the real time he got to shine. And I think the real thing that made him the best trash talker and the most like notorious trash talker in the UFC for sure was when he went at Adesanya, bringing up the dog situation and how he grew up basically like rich with like a servant or something like that. And then he made Adesanya cry, and you know, the rest is history. So that's why I have him this high, is because this guy is just very effective when it comes to trash talk. You know, he doesn't have any boundaries, and that's why I think it makes him the best trash talker, because everything's on the table. Let me know what you guys think about these. Would you guys change anybody? Do you think anybody's a better trash talker than I listed them? Let me know in the comments below. And if you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.